There are structures on Earth so ambitious that they seem to challenge the limits of engineering itself. Across oceans, mountains, deserts, and megacities, humans have built colossal bridges, massive dams, record-breaking tunnels, and futuristic landmarks on a scale once thought impossible. Some of these projects connect entire regions, others protect millions of people from natural disasters, while a few were created simply to push the boundaries of what human ingenuity can achieve. Built through decades of planning, innovation, and construction, these megaprojects have transformed landscapes and redefined the way people live, travel, and interact with the world around them. Today, we explore some of the most extraordinary megaprojects ever built, where vision, technology, and determination have turned the impossible into reality. Sphere Las Vegas, United States. A massive transforming sphere where the entire surface of the building can change like a living object in real time. The structure stands about 370 feet tall and 520 feet wide, forming a giant spherical landmark, visible from far away. Its outer shell is covered with more than 580,000 square feet of LED display, turning it into the largest screen on Earth. Inside, a full dome, 16K screen surrounds nearly the entire field of view, removing the sense of traditional space for the audience. A system of over 160,000 speakers delivers highly precise, directional sound to different seating areas. At night, the structure transforms into a glowing planet with constantly changing visuals, from giant icons to real-time animated effects. Taipei 101, Taiwan. Rising in a land often hit by earthquakes and powerful storms, this tower stands like a steel bamboo reaching proudly into the sky. Once the tallest building in the world, at about 1,667 feet, it is held firm by 380 steel piles, driven about 262 feet deep into solid rock. The tower is shaped like 8 stacked sections of bamboo and covered in green glass that blocks about half of the sun's heat. A high-speed elevator takes you to the 89th floor in only 37 seconds, where you can see a giant steel sphere weighing about 728 tons hanging in the air. Because of this special design, the building can withstand super typhoon winds of about 134 miles per hour without being knocked down. Its 101 floors stand for the 21st century and for the human desire to keep rising higher. Golden Gate Bridge feels like a giant orange brushstroke across the entrance to San Francisco Bay, where steel, fog, and ocean come together in one of the most recognizable images on Earth. When it was completed in 1937, it held world records for the longest suspension span and the tallest bridge towers, turning what many believed was nearly impossible into an American engineering icon. The bridge stretches about 8,976 feet in total, while each main cable runs about 7,650 feet, with a combined wire length of about 80,000 miles. Its famous international orange color began as a primer, but it was kept because it stood out beautifully against blue water and white fog, and also helped ships see the bridge in low visibility. The most haunting view comes when thick fog hides almost the entire span and leaves only the orange towers rising above the white mist, like floating markers in the sky. After surviving fierce winds, strong currents, and major seismic upgrades, it feels not only like a bridge, but like a lasting symbol of arrival, endurance, and the dream of a new beginning. Sydney Opera House feels like a white ceramic sailing ship catching the wind above the water, where modern architecture takes on the shape of an ocean dream. Jorn Utsen's idea began with the sliced geometry of an orange, which later grew into the famous shell-like roofs that created one of the most recognizable silhouettes in the world. The whole structure weighs about 161,000 tons and is held in same place by 588 concrete piers driven about 82 feet below the water, while the roof covers about 4.5 acres and is faced with more than 1 million ceramic tiles that can clean themselves in rain. Behind that cool white exterior are 7 performance spaces where white oak and red granite create a warm and elegant atmosphere that sharply contrasts with the outside. It also contains a grand pipe organ with 10,154 pipes, and more than 1,500 performances are held here each year, turning the building into a living machine of art. Every winter, the roof becomes a giant screen for artistic three-dimensional light shows that attract millions of visitors. Veluwemeer Aqueduct, Netherlands. This is neither a bridge nor a tunnel, but a space where people can move beneath a real body of water, flowing above them while still remaining connected to natural light. The structure represents a completely reversed design logic, where instead of lifting vehicles over water, it preserves the water's natural path and allows traffic to pass underneath without interference. It is part of a large-scale water control system in a country where about 26% of the land lies below sea level and requires constant regulation. The water layer above is about 10 feet deep, carefully engineered to allow small boats to pass smoothly while maintaining safe pressure on the structure below. Although it is only about 80 feet long, the design achieves high efficiency by allowing 2 traffic systems to operate continuously without the need for tall bridges or long tunnels. From an aerial view, the clear separation between water and roadway creates a powerful visual illusion where boats seem to float in mid-air, while vehicles disappear into a hidden layer of space below. Ostankino Tower, Russia. A giant needle rising into the sky where human signals and ambition extend beyond the limits of the ground. The tower stands about 1,770 feet tall and once held the record as the tallest freestanding structure in the world. At this altitude, the top is often covered by clouds, creating the illusion that the structure disappears into the sky. Its reinforced concrete structure, combined with internal tension cables, allows it to remain stable under strong winds at extreme heights. Instead of resisting nature, the tower is designed to gently sway with the wind, reducing stress and extending its lifespan. At night, lighting transforms it into a glowing vertical landmark, while it continues broadcasting signals across a wide region. IJslandkering, Netherlands. Born from a sea disaster that took nearly 2,000 lives in a single night, IJslandkering feels like the sea guardian of an entire nation. Instead of being a normal dam, it is made of two giant steel gates, each weighing more than 7,500 tons and stretching almost as long as a horizontal Eiffel Tower. On ordinary days, the system stays open, so thousands of ships can pass, keeping the country's economic lifeline moving freely. But when its supercomputer detects a major storm and dangerous rising water, the machine gives the order to close at exactly the right moment. The two steel walls slowly swing into the channel, fill themselves with water, and sink to the riverbed to join into one solid barrier. Behind that heavy movement are giant metal joints about 33 feet wide and weighing about 750 tons, allowing the whole structure to move with astonishing precision like a living machine. Akashi Kaikyo Bridge, Japan. This is a massive force-balancing system where the entire structure is suspended in the air and kept stable through precise distribution of tension between cables, towers, and weight. Within the structure, cables made of tens of thousands of high-strength steel wires work together, handling forces of hundreds of thousands of tons to keep the span from collapsing. The design is not only strong, but also flexible, allowing the bridge to move slightly under strong winds instead of resisting and risking damage. With a main span of about 6,500 feet, the space between the towers becomes the central zone, where all force calculations must be extremely precise. The towers, rising about 1,000 feet, act as anchors that transfer the tension from the cables down into the foundation, maintaining balance in harsh conditions. Through this combination of scale and engineering, the bridge does more than connect 2 points. It proves that humans can control natural forces at an almost unimaginable level. Falkirk Wheel. The Falkirk Wheel feels like a machine from science fiction, where an entire boat can be lifted by a slow and astonishingly precise turn. It is the world's only rotating boat lift, created to connect 2 canals that once had a height difference of about 79 feet, replacing an old system of 11 locks. What once took almost a full day can now be done in only about 4 to 5 minutes, completely changing travel along the waterway. Its most impressive feature is that the whole lifting process happens through balanced circular motion, making the huge steel structure look both powerful and strangely effortless. The design draws inspiration from Celtic double axes, whale bones, and ancient ships, so among the soft curves of the canals and green Scottish fields, it feels both mechanical and sculptural. When night falls and colored lights begin to glow, it feels not only like a transport system, but also like proof that modern engineering can turn motion itself into art. (1915) Çanakkale Bridge, Turkey. Marked by 2 red and white towers rising about 1,043 feet above the sea, this bridge turned a crossing that once meant hours of waiting for a ferry into a drive of only about 6 minutes between Asia and Europe. It holds the world record with a main span of about 6,637 feet, and that number was chosen to point to the year 2023, the centennial of the Turkish Republic. The whole bridge is held by steel cables stretching about 101,000 miles, enough to wrap around the Earth 4 times, while its giant anchor foundations are fixed about 131 feet below the sea to resist the strong current. Behind that elegant look, the roadway is split into 2 parallel strips, leaving a gap of about 30 feet that runs for about 1 mile so the strongest storms can pass through without flipping the deck. This mega project of more than 2.5 billion euros was also completed in only about 4 years, with more than 5,100 workers and 740 engineers working day and night. The bridge is not only a huge transport link, but also a clear statement of modern Turkey's ambition, history, and desire to rise higher. The Interlace, Singapore. Unlike any city ever built, this megastructure completely redefines how people live within an urban environment. The project includes 31 massive blocks, each about 230 feet long and 6 stories tall, stacked into 4 layers, reaching roughly 315 feet in height. Large open voids between the blocks act as natural wind tunnels, increasing airflow by about 20 to 30% and reducing the feeling of dense concrete pressure. Multi-level vegetation and integrated water systems function as a microclimate engine, collecting rainwater and stabilizing humidity across the entire structure. A complex system of 43 elevators runs continuously, allowing residents to move both vertically and horizontally through this layered design. The top-level penthouses range from about 6,300 square feet to over 6,500 square feet, offering more space and value than most luxury landed homes. Megaprojects Bridge, Croatia. Looking like a white ribbon stretched across turquoise water, this beautiful bridge was created to stitch back together the map of a country that had remained divided for 300 years. Instead of forcing travelers to cross a 9-kilometer strip of a neighboring country, It opened a new route over the sea to reconnect two parts of the nation. This giant bridge, about 8,007 feet long, was assembled from massive steel sections and fixed deep into the rock below the seabed, with giant steel piles weighing up to about 276 tons. Thanks to its smart design, it can stand against winds of about 112 miles per hour and can also shift safely so it does not break apart during major earthquakes. Costing about 526 million euros, it was also a rare partnership in which Europe provided most of the money while Asia carried out the construction work. More than a route for travel, this bridge has become a historic landmark, marking the lasting reunion and unity of a country's territory. Corinth Canal, Greece. A straight cut through solid land where humans carved a path to connect two separate bodies of water. The canal stretches about 4 miles, but its most striking feature is its narrow width of around 80 feet, making it one of the tightest canals ever built. Steep rock walls, rising on both sides, create the feeling of looking into a deep, natural crack filled with dark blue water. As ships pass through, the limited space makes them appear almost pressed against the stone walls on both sides. Some visitors come not only to watch, but also to jump from heights of over 200 feet into the water below. Although it was once a major breakthrough, the canal has become less practical as modern ships have grown too large to pass through it. Russky Bridge, Russia. Rising across the cold sea like a giant steel arrow, Russky Bridge holds the world record for the longest cable-stayed main span, with about 3,622 feet hanging between its two towers. Its two A-shaped towers rise about 1,063 feet high like giant ship masts, holding 168 cables, with the longest reaching nearly 1,969 feet. What makes the bridge even more striking is that those cables are painted white, blue, and red, so from far away, it looks like a huge national flag flying across the sea. The bridge was even placed on the 2,000 ruble banknote because it opened access to an island that had been closed for more than 150 years and turned it into a new center of education and economic life. Although it cost more than $1 billion and had to be built in very harsh weather, this giant project was still completed in only about 4 years in time for an international summit. At night, or in winter, when white ice covers the water below, the bridge appears like a giant strip of light, cold and proud at the same time, like a statement of human power and ambition. Shanghai World Financial Center, China. Soaring straight into the sky like a futuristic masterpiece, this crystal tower challenges every gaze with its proud giant bottle opener shape. Once interrupted by a financial crisis, it took 11 years of persistence for this steel symbol to complete and reach a height of 1,614 feet. The abnormality lies in the hollow design at the top, an intelligent aerodynamic solution that neutralizes the devastating power of hurricanes. Here, you can experience the feeling of waking up among the clouds in a luxury hotel located from the 79th to the 93rd floor of the building. As sunset dissolves into darkness, the sharp beveled lines glow under the lights, transforming the famous architecture into a powerful financial icon. Standing in the floating glass corridor, the boundary between life and the air is just a layer of crystal, where you see the whole city shrinking beneath your heels. Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park, United Arab Emirates. Instead of depending on depleted oil wells, this land is building a great sci-fi machine in the heart of the desert to change its destiny. To survive dust storms, an automated robot army is deployed to diligently clean the glass matrix without wasting a single drop of water. The terrifying heat rising from the mirrors makes the air vibrate intensely, twisting and bending the spatial illusion around the tower. Viewed from afar, this flat 30-square-mile surface strip looks like a silent, dark blue crystal ocean nestled amidst a brilliant golden sand sea. Embracing the ambition to reach 5,000 megawatts, this megastructure is a fierce declaration of war by humanity to dominate the endless power from the universe. Louvre, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Like a visual miracle, this 590-foot wide silver dome looks like it is floating amidst the vast ocean. Hidden underneath is a maze of 55 separate white buildings, forming a floating village on the seawater. This structure is assembled from 7,850 interlaced metal stars, forming a mesmerizing artificial sky. Sunlight filtering through creates a unique rain of light effect, simulating the feeling of sitting under a cool palm forest. To maintain that surreal beauty, 4 giant support pillars have been completely hidden inside simulated walls. The structure is a symbol of great cultural ambition, where the artistic values of France and the Arab world shine together. Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge, China. Throwing a crystal ribbon more than 1,410 feet long across a drop of about 984 feet. This structure once held both the title of the longest and the highest glass-bottom bridge in the world, turning a bridge into a direct confrontation with the abyss. Its most famous feature is the deck made from 99 panels of ultra-clear, triple-layer glass, making every step feel like walking on air, while the vast emptiness below looks so real that the brain almost refuses to believe the body is still safe. The bridge has no support pier in the middle of the gorge, but hangs fully between towering sandstone cliffs, where thick fog often swallows both ends and makes it look like a path leading straight into nothingness. To prove the strength of the glass, people once let crowds strike the surface with hammers and then drove a 2-ton SUV across cracked panels, turning the test into a bold answer to every doubt. That direct attack on human survival instinct is why the bridge became famous, not only for its design, but also for the sight of visitors crawling, crying, freezing in place, or clutching the rail as they force themselves to take the next step across the transparent floor. In Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Like a giant guarding the bay, this wheel offers a 360-degree view, turning skyscrapers below into toy models. Inside, 48 glass cabins are not cramped cages, but flying rooms covering 323 square feet, large enough to hold a party. Holding this structure steady is a network of 192 tension cables, 1,491 miles long, woven together like a giant steel spiderweb in mid-air. It proudly rises to a height of 820 feet, completely crushing the London Eye's record to become the absolute king of the sky. To build this legend, they cast over 12,300 tons of steel, 33% more than the iron needed to build the Eiffel Tower in Paris. At night, it does not sleep, but transforms into a brilliant crown of light, shining luxury down onto the dark water. Dubai Frame, United Arab Emirates. Far beyond the concept of an ordinary tower, this observatory is a giant, hollow sculpture plated in brilliant gold amidst the desert. The secret lies in the smart glass technology on the bridge. The opaque floor turns completely transparent as soon as sensors detect human footsteps. Its strategic location turns it into a time machine, capturing the ancient quarter on one side and opening up a vision of futuristic skyscrapers on the other. Built on the divine number of the golden ratio, the structure rises to a height of 492 feet, creating visual perfection. To withstand harsh sandstorms, the outer shell is coated with ultra-durable titanium nitride instead of paint, helping it always shine like immortal pure gold. Walking on that fragile glass strip brings extreme excitement as you see the whole world shrinking beneath your heels. Merdeka 118, Malaysia. Rising from the earth like an unpolished gem, this structure is a firm statement about the rise of a new era. The craziest challenge here is stepping outside the glass cage, where only a safety harness holds you back from the vast abyss. Thousands of faceted glass panels not only create beauty, but also help break the power of storms at high levels. Reaching an astonishing height of 2,227 feet, it has officially become the planet's second roof, leaving other rivals far behind. The arrangement of glass faces mimics ancient woven fabric patterns, turning the cold steel block into a vivid cultural artwork. At night, the lighting system running along the architectural ribs turns the tower into a giant sword of light in the sky. Putrajaya, Malaysia. Not a jungle of concrete skyscrapers, this capital is a cyber-Islamic masterpiece where classic Muslim strokes meet 22nd century construction technology. It is dubbed the Venice of the East, thanks to a collection of 8 stunning, cable-stayed and arch bridges connecting the lake shores, even though no natural river flows through. Most prominent is the temple made of pink granite, where architects hid the foundation underwater to make the giant stone block look like it is floating. Surrounding them is an artificial lake surface of 1,606 acres, acting as a green lung, helping to lower the ambient temperature by 4 degrees Fahrenheit compared to the outside. When night falls, the entire city turns into a giant electronic circuit board with an LED lighting system programmed to change colors synchronously on every building. This is the perfect model of an intelligent garden city, where 40% of the land area is dedicated to greenery and water to serve humans. Tokyo, Skytree, Japan. Piercing the sky at a height of 2,080 feet, this giant silver hairpin is currently the tallest TV tower in the world, recognized by the Guinness Book of Records. From the observation deck at a height of 1,476 feet, visitors' eyes can touch the curvature of the Earth, turning skyscrapers below into toys. The heart-stopping experience begins when the elevator rushes at a speed of 1,969 feet per minute, fast enough to make your ears pop due to sudden pressure changes. The secret of its stability lies in the central pillar technique learned from ancient pagodas, helping to cancel out 50% of the shaking force during earthquakes. The tower shell is not ordinary white, but traditional Ejiro color, mixed with a hint of blue, helping it blend delicately into the daytime sky. The attraction of standing above everyone is so great that lines of people still patiently wait for hours, even though the entrance ticket price is not cheap. Riyadh Metro, Saudi Arabia. Instead of building piecemeal, this country took a big gamble by creating 6 train lines, 109 miles long, simultaneously in a single phase. The interesting point is that the trains run completely automatically without drivers, allowing passengers to stand right at the nose of the train to enjoy the panoramic view. Stepping inside, you will be overwhelmed by polished granite floors and honeycomb domes that turn harsh sunlight into artistic lighting. To avoid the scorching heat, earth-eating monsters dug tunnels 98 feet deep to hide half of the system under the desert. The stations on the ground are not rigid, but curve softly like moving golden sand dunes, completely without dead angles. To survive in the harsh nature, the trains are forced to be equipped with specialized track-sweeping brushes to fight against the number one enemy, sandstorms. Hudson Yards, United States. Declaring war on natural laws, this metropolis is built on an undefined void, lying right on top of roaring trains. For plants to live on the scorching concrete, a liquid cooling system is installed underground to protect the roots from temperatures of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. You will not find any garbage trucks here, as waste is sucked at 45 miles per hour through a giant pneumatic vacuum tube system. Supporting all that life are two concrete slabs weighing 35,000 tons, acting as a giant lid separating the underworld below. To realize this crazy dream, investors had to spend $25 billion, turning it into the most expensive real estate project in history. The end point of arrogance is the sharp, triangular observation deck, where you stand on a transparent glass floor at a height of 1,100 feet, looking down into the abyss. Forest City, Malaysia. Rising from the ocean, thanks to 212 million cubic yards of sandfill, this artificial archipelago is proof of the wildest ambition to reshape nature. However, the dream of a supercity for 700,000 people died young when less than 1% of the population moved in, leaving behind a frightening emptiness. The tragedy lies in housing prices 60 times higher than local income, making it a forbidden citadel that the poor cannot reach. The green-covered towers now look like a horror movie set where wild plants swallow the cold concrete balconies. Its location is calculated, lying just 1 mile from the neighboring country's border, aiming to drain the opponent's economic resources. But nature is reclaiming everything as the soft ground begins to sink, revealing large cracks, threatening the survival of this ghost city. One World Trade Center, United States. Born from painful memories, this tower stands tall as a fierce affirmation of a nation's resilience and rebirth. Its architecture deceives the vision as it transforms smoothly from a square base into 8 giant isosceles triangles embracing the sky. The solid base is cleverly camouflaged by 4,000 prismatic glass panels, making the rough concrete block shimmer like water waves under the sun. It proudly reaches a height of 1,776 feet, an unforgettable number, reminding of the year of national independence. On top is a spiral antenna, weighing 758 tons, acting as a steel crown, helping it become the king of the Western Hemisphere sky. The journey ends with 47 seconds in the elevator, where you see 500 years of city history running before your eyes like a time-lapse movie. NASA Vehicle Assembly Building, United States. Holding the crown as the largest single-story building on the planet, this technological cathedral is the birthplace of missions to conquer the stars. Its facade proudly wears a giant painted flag, where each star is 6 feet wide, enough to hold a full-grown adult. The greatness is shown through 4 doors, 456 feet high, so huge that it takes 45 minutes to fully open. An interesting secret is that the soaring ceiling creates its own weather system, where rain clouds can condense and pour water right inside the house. To stand firm on soft ground, it must take root with 4,225 steel piles driven 164 feet deep into the bedrock under the swamp. The road to the launch pad is also extraordinary, as it is paved with special river rocks to withstand the load of the 6 million pound crawler passing through. James Webb Space Telescope International. As humanity's messenger sent into the void, this telescope uses infrared rays to unveil the secrets of the most ancient galaxies. Its highlight is a 21-foot wide mirror wall coated with pure gold, the best heat-reflecting metal to catch faint light from the past. To get this giant tennis court into the sky, it had to be folded like origami and face 344 risk points that could turn $10 billion into space junk. Overcoming that stormy journey, it saw light emitted 13.5 billion years ago, just 200 million years after the universe was born. It exists between two extreme worlds, where the side facing the sun is 185 degrees Fahrenheit hot, while the working side is minus 388 degrees Fahrenheit cold. Separating that temperature heaven and hell are just 5 fragile layers with a sun protection factor, SPF, of 1 million. South-North Water Transfer Project, China. More than just a canal, this is a testament to human power when daring to redraw the river map and control the lifeblood of an entire continent. To overcome rugged terrain, beastly pumping stations were built to push billions of cubic feet of water uphill to the high northern regions. Giant concrete aqueducts carry clean water, gliding proudly through the sky, crossing deep valleys. The ultimate challenge lies in tunnels drilled 98 feet beneath natural riverbeds, where clear and muddy water flow on top of each other without mixing. Artificial order is established by 5-story high steel gates, guarding and regulating the breadth of water flowing throughout the 10,000-mile journey. Grand Canal, China. Not just a path on water, this ancient blue dragon is a giant anthropological museum that has been flowing for millennia in the heart of the country. Dotting the flow are thousands of unique stone bridges, from circular arches like the moon to solid stone slabs exquisitely carved. The architecture here is strangely unique, as mossy tiled roofs sit right at the water's edge, creating a poetic world of busy wharves and boats. The secret of the flow lies in an intelligent lock system invented thousands of years ago, helping ships easily climb slopes through rugged terrain. Its magnificence was honored by UNESCO as a heritage of humanity, a rare hydraulic work still bustling with life after centuries. When sunset dissolves into the water, the light from ancient streets blends with weeping willow shadows, weaving a vivid and deep ink wash painting. Three Gorges Shiplift, China. Like a gateway to the future, this largest elevator on the planet has turned a fierce river into an overwhelming aerial highway. Here, giant 394-foot-long steel basins quietly rise from the riverbed, carrying cruise ships gliding between clouds and cliffs. Instead of cables, the system uses giant steel racks to secure the 34 million pound mass of the elevator, ensuring absolute safety in all situations. Thanks to miraculous physical laws, the elevator's weight is always kept balanced, whether a large or small ship enters, making the operation unbelievably smooth. The experience of standing on the ship's side and seeing the riverbed gradually sink beneath your feet is the brightest testament to humans completely conquering nature. Raffles City, Chongqing, China. Standing proudly at the intersection of two major waters, this project redefines living space by placing an entire horizontal city atop skyscraper peaks. With a massive floor area of over 11 million square feet, this place is a self-contained oasis, allowing you to enjoy life for an entire month without touching the ground. Protecting the inner garden are 3,000 special glass panels capable of absolute ultraviolet blocking, keeping the cloud ecosystem green and cool against harsh sunlight. The magic lies in the suspended tropical forest, where humans brought over 120 large tree species to a height of 820 feet to create a natural breath amidst concrete. Every time the city lights up, 8 giant sails glow thanks to the smart LED system, weaving an overwhelming sci-fi picture in the night sky. Oriental Pearl Tower China. Inspired by an ancient poem about pearls falling on a silver plate, this television tower has transformed into a romantic sci-fi icon by the riverbank. At the breathtaking peak, the 360-degree revolving restaurant offers a visual feast as the entire vibrant city slowly moves around your gaze. The magnificent beauty of the ruby spheres is not just art, but also a technical achievement, helping to neutralize wind pressure at 1,535 feet. Three solid steel pillars, like sky-supporting columns, have created an immutable foundation, protecting 11 shimmering spheres against all of nature's fury. Challenging courage on the floating glass floor, visitors will feel they are truly flying in the void while seeing ships as small as matchboxes gliding below. Every time the city lights up, this giant lighthouse glows with millions of changing colors, weaving a vivid, cinematic dream in real life. Port of Shanghai, China. Far beyond any ordinary port, this mega entity is a great commercial machine, coordinating the economic pulse of the entire planet. The most magical landscape appears with millions of colorful steel blocks stacked together, weaving a geometric art piece stretching to the horizon. Crossing the windy ocean, the 20-mile-long bridge stands tall like an invisible thread, tying the mainland's lifeline to the sea. To master the ocean's depth, humans created a technological oasis 20 miles off the coast, where the world's largest ships can dock safely. The efficiency here reaches an astonishing level, as every 2 seconds a container is successfully unloaded, maintaining an uninterrupted flow of goods. Amidst the crane forests glowing at night, thousands of autonomous robot vehicles move silently, turning this place into a future city with absolutely no people. Tuokatuo Power Station, China. On the windy plateau, grey concrete blocks rise into the sky, creating an industrial fortress completely separated from the outside world. Even though it is in a remote place, it carries the vital mission of pumping essential energy to the capital city more than 300 miles away. Standing here, visitors can clearly feel the ground shaking slightly from the low, non-stop growl coming from the giant machines. Its power is truly scary, with a capacity of 6,720 megawatts, exceeding the electricity production of many small countries combined. However, hope is still sprouting as fields of solar panels are rising right next door, challenging the dominance of old coal. Pontcysyllte Aqueduct, United Kingdom. Viewed from afar, this canal looks like a fragile ribbon of water crossing the sky at a height of 126 feet, completely separated from the ground. A little-known secret is that the mortar binding these giant stones was mixed with ox blood, helping the structure last for centuries. The scariest feeling is sitting on a boat and floating right next to the edge of the abyss without any protective railing. Supporting the entire system are 18 towering limestone pillars, but they are hollow inside to reduce pressure on the foundation. Although looking light, this black iron trough has been carrying a massive water volume of nearly 400,000 gallons for over 200 years. This deserves to be a World Heritage masterpiece, where raw mechanical engineering has conquered the harshness of time. The O2, London, United Kingdom. Looking like a strange creature from space, 12 bright yellow towers pierce through the white shell to cling to the windy riverbank. A heart-stopping experience here is that visitors can walk directly on this elastic dome, hovering at a height of over 170 feet in the sky. Its location lies right next to the Greenwich Prime Meridian, where human time begins, so every design here aims to honor time. Specifically, its diameter is nearly 1,200 feet, representing the days of the year, while the height represents 52 weeks. Technically, this is actually the largest tent in the world, held up by 43 miles of steel cable, with absolutely no load-bearing walls like normal buildings. Overcoming a past of being seen as a costly white elephant, this place has miraculously revived to become the best-selling stage on the planet. Warsaw Tower, Poland. Like a crystal arrow piercing the atmosphere, this tower rises proudly to affirm the new position of an entire nation. Its surpassing of rivals in London at a historic moment silently signaled the shift of economic power to Eastern Europe. Here, visitors experience an absolute 360-degree view, where the horizon opens up endlessly without being blocked by any obstacles. With its tip reaching 1,017 feet, it officially became the tallest building in the European Union, beating all previous records. The highlight creating this record is the giant antenna mast weighing 73 tons planted on the roof, sharp as a needle sewing the sky. The most magical thing is that inside that cold steel and glass shell hides a real garden with trees up to 20 feet tall living among the clouds. Shanghai Maglev, China. Completely different from all types of trains, this wheelless vehicle is the only high-speed commercial magnetic levitation line in the world. When cornering, the concrete guideway tilts sharply, pressing the passenger's body into the seat, creating a sensation just like sitting on a banking jet aircraft. It possesses a terrifying speed of 268 miles per hour, far exceeding the speed limit of any sports supercar ever built. The secret lies in the massive magnetic force that lifts the entire train, weighing hundreds of tons, hovering exactly 0.4 inches above the concrete surface. At that speed, the scenery outside is stretched into blurry streaks of color, creating the illusion that you are activating hyperspace mode in a sci-fi movie. This power helps compress a 19-mile distance into just 7 minutes and 20 seconds, turning this journey into an instant teleportation. Danyang-Kunshan Grand Bridge, China. Stretching across the fertile delta, this white concrete silk ribbon extends endlessly to the point of blurring the visual horizon. It is an impregnable fortress, designed to withstand magnitude 8 earthquakes and the direct impact of a 330,000-ton naval vessel. At the section crossing the 6-mile-wide lake, over 2,000 bridge pillars rise up tall, turning the water surface into a floating concrete forest amidst the waves. Holding the absolute throne with a total length of 102 miles, this artificial dragon has crushed every record to become the longest bridge in history. To tame the sponge-like soft soil, tens of thousands of foundation piles had to be driven 262 feet deep into the ground, equivalent to a 25-story building buried upside down. Although named a bridge, this is a territory absolutely forbidden to cars, reserved exclusively for silver bullets tearing through the wind at a speed of 186 miles per hour. Vasco da Gama Bridge, Portugal. Viewed from afar, The white cable towers rise into the sky like a giant harp playing music in the middle of the vast estuary. On days with thick fog, this structure creates a strange illusion as the road seems to dissolve into nothingness among the clouds. To stand firm in the muddy water, engineers had to drive foundation piles more than 310 feet into the ground, equivalent to a 30-story building. With a total length of nearly 11 miles, drivers take up to 15 minutes to cross this vast, ocean-like water surface. The most incredible thing is that this great masterpiece was completed at lightning speed, taking only 18 months to fully assemble. Hidden behind that fragile beauty is the power of survival, designed to withstand an earthquake 4.5 times stronger than the historical disaster. AVE High-Speed Rail Network, Spain. Bearing the name of a free bird, this time machine tore through the wind with a record test speed of 251 miles per hour, faster than a professional race car. To conquer the second most rugged mountainous terrain in Europe, hundreds of miles of giant viaducts were built to keep the tracks perfectly flat. Passengers will experience a thrill as sunlight flashes continuously like disco lights when the train rushes through a chain of mountain tunnels. Worthy of the old continent's crown, this rail network stretches nearly 2,500 miles, surpassing all neighboring technological powerhouses. The landscape outside transforms magically, where millions of olive trees race past the window, creating a hypnotic silver-green ocean. The pinnacle of pride lies in the 100% refund commitment for any delay, affirming the absolute precision of time. City of Arts and Sciences, Spain. Spain. Stepping into this complex, visitors will feel like they are lost in the sci-fi movie Tomorrowland because of the architecture that exceeds imagination. Inside its heart holds a giant artificial ocean with 11 million gallons of water, perfectly recreating ecosystems from the Arctic to the Mediterranean. The brilliant white shell outside is actually meticulously assembled from millions of broken ceramic pieces, turning scrap into a work of industrial art. Rising into the sky is a cable-stayed bridge 410 feet high, bearing the elegant shape of a harp playing music for the clouds. The special arched structure here allows two people standing 164 feet apart to clearly hear each other's whispers without shouting. Overcoming controversies about costs, this city has turned a dead river into the country's proudest tourism icon. Gotthard Base Tunnel, Switzerland. Dubbed the drill of the century, this 35-mile-long tunnel pierces the base of the Alps to become the longest traffic route on the planet. In reality, this is an intricate maze that, if stretched out, would extend up to 94 miles. The biggest challenge was not hard rock, but the natural temperature reaching 115 degrees Fahrenheit, turning this place into a giant kiln. That heat is generated by the record depth of 7,546 feet, where the Earth's crust weighs down equivalent to 5 Empire State Towers stacked together. Thanks to the perfectly flat design, high-speed trains can tear through the wind here at 155 miles per hour as smoothly as flying over a plane. Kariba Dam, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. A giant concrete wall has subdued natural power, creating an artificial lake stretching 137 miles right in the middle of the dark continent. The unique point is that the borderline between the two countries does not lie on the ground, but is drawn right in the middle of the top of this dam. In the past, the rise of this deadly water once forced humans to launch a historic campaign to save more than 6,000 wild creatures from being submerged. The most heart-stopping experience is striding 1,969 feet on the dam crest, where you will clearly feel the road shaking violently from the furious power screaming underneath. Sheikh Jaber Al Ahmad Causeway, Kuwait. Surpassing the limits of ordinary structures, this majestic concrete strip is an extravagant epic stretching across the ocean to connect the city with the void. The trip begins from a brightly lit forest of skyscrapers, but will quickly throw you into a desolate and chillingly silent sand dune region on the other shore. Stretching up to 31 miles, its greatness forced humans to calculate even the curvature of the planet's surface so that the two ends would not miss each other. Under the scorching 122-degree Fahrenheit heat of the Gulf, optical illusions frequently bend the light, making the bridge surface look broken and floating in the sky. Despite costing billions of dollars, this masterpiece is currently just a sci-fi stroke waiting for a future megacity that is still only lying on paper. Sayano-Shushenskaya Dam, Russia. In the bone-chilling cold of -40 degrees Fahrenheit, the river below the dam steams and churns as if boiling amidst the white sky. Few expect that this wild power once cracked the surface of the structure in the past, forcing engineers to inject thousands of tons of special resin deep inside to save it. The brutal pressure from 26 million tons of water weighing on the foundation is so terrifying that it is believed to have slowed down the rotation of our planet. Whenever the gates open, the water slides down the concrete chute and is thrown into the air, forever weaving brilliant rainbows under the sunlight. However, that beauty was once paid for with blood, when a water storm tossed a 992-ton machine into the sky, drowning 75 lives in a historic tragedy. Boguchany Dam, Russia. Sitting imposingly in the Siberian wilderness, a giant wall hybridized from earth and concrete has ruthlessly suffocated the most violent river in the region. To clear the way for this project, over 5,000 indigenous residents were forced to uproot and leave, leaving their ancient villages permanently sunk under the water. That tearful sacrifice was not for civilian life, but purely to provide an exclusive power source to feed the secretive aluminum smelters deep in the forest. Enduring over 30 years of rusty oblivion before being revived, this giant will forever be a monument to human tenacity mixed with bottomless greed. Tropical Islands Resort, Germany. From an abandoned airship hangar, this metal block has risen to become an eternal summer island, defying the freezing winter. Just by stepping through the door, you will be released into a 656-foot-long, smooth white sand strip and soak in the warm sea day and night. Right under the cold industrial ceiling, a primitive rainforest still surges upwards with 50,000 densely intertwined plant species. This giant pillarless structure embraces a massive space of 194 million cubic feet, capable of swallowing the most massive wonders of humanity. That space is so vast that tourists can sit on a real hot air balloon, floating 197 feet above the ground, right inside the glass cage. This survival cocoon is a testament to human pride, where a perfect tropical paradise is carefully packaged and sold for the price of a ticket. Skybridge 721, Czech Republic. Hovering amidst the vast mid-air, This great suspension bridge splits the sky with a length of 2,365 feet and sits precariously at a height of 312 feet. The cruelest rule on this boundary is the absolute ban on turning around, forcing you to grit your teeth and step forward even when terror surrounds you. On foggy days completely obscuring both ends, every hovering footstep brings a feeling of extreme isolation, like walking into the void. Despite stretching endlessly, the structure creates a creepy illusion of a fragile string ready to snap because of its breathtakingly narrow width of merely 4 feet. Looking through the steel grating floor, a whole primitive pine forest ecosystem and sharp cliffs appear clearly right under your heels. Each gust of wind howling through tens of thousands of metal gaps creates a moaning, eerie symphony like the sigh of wild nature itself. Svalbard Global Seed Vault, Norway. Shining like an emerald diamond, in the long polar night, the door of this underground vault is the only highlight on the white desert. Even if the entire artificial power grid goes dark, the permafrost enveloping the mountain automatically maintains a temperature of 25 to 27 degrees Fahrenheit. To reach that gloomy realm, you must cross a 394-foot-long narrow slope, leaving behind the outside world where ruthless polar bears rule. This biological fortress is cleverly carved at an elevation of 427 feet above the water, ensuring life is never submerged by a melting ice disaster. Channel Shuttle Terminal, France, United Kingdom. Connecting two ocean shores, this giant terminal is the end of the mainland, where all asphalt roads are sucked down into a dark abyss. Before opening a new era, this massive gamble burned up to $15 billion and pushed countless investors into the deep pit of bankruptcy. The real miracle lies in the precision, as two giant drills tunneled through the darkness for 31 miles and perfectly met face-to-face with an error margin of less than 14 inches. Confederation Bridge, Canada. Stretching across the icy strait, This great 8-mile-long traffic machine has shattered the millennial isolation of the island from the continent. A strange rule applied here is that you are completely free to enter, but forced to pay an expensive toll fee if you want to return. To create this masterpiece, giant concrete blocks weighing 8,267 tons were cast on shore, then dropped into the sea by cranes like a great puzzle. When winter strikes, 65 cone-shaped pillars turn into a mechanical slaughterhouse, calmly slicing in half and crushing any giant ice floes crashing into it. The bridge structure deliberately winds into a giant letter S to break highway hypnosis, forcing drivers to always stay alert amidst the vast white space. Despite its supreme pride, this concrete strip still has to surrender to nature, as the barrier system will slam shut immediately if the wind force exceeds 43 miles per hour. Baihetan Dam, China. The Baihetan Dam is the world's second-largest hydroelectric power station, and it was also the first project to put 1,000-megawatt water turbines into operation, pushing power engineering into a new era. When the river is held back, the reservoir appears like a deep blue ribbon between grey-brown cliffs, while moisture rising from the narrow valley often gathers into fog and low cloud around the dam, giving the place a grand but strangely quiet atmosphere. Whenever the spillways open, water blasts out at about 150 feet per second, with pressure so extreme that even a small leak could form a jet powerful enough to cut into solid steel, revealing the force this structure must contain. Although the main construction surged ahead in a little over 5 years, the project had actually been prepared quietly since 2008, and behind the roughly $32 billion achievement was a heavy human cost, with more than 100,000 people forced to leave their homes forever. Mose, Italy. Sleeping beneath the seabed like an invisible machine, Mose rises only when storm tides become violent enough to threaten the survival of a historic city standing fragile against the sea. When the system is activated, dozens of yellow barriers rise together from the grey water, creating a surreal image like a giant set of steel teeth suddenly emerging to bite back the waves. Each barrier is linked to its concrete base by joints weighing about 42 tons, built with extremely high precision so they do not jam because of sand, debris, or sea life while working in salt water. Instead of building exposed concrete seawalls, the project hides 78 hollow steel floats inside concrete chambers on the seabed. So in normal conditions, the entire shield almost disappears from sight. Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, Ethiopia. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is not just a giant hydroelectric project, but a colossal machine holding both the energy future and the political tension of a vast region in its hands. When all 13 turbines run at full power, the structure can produce enough electricity to light the lives of about 60 million people, making it one of the biggest new sources of power on the continent. What makes the dam so controversial around the world is that it cuts across the river, supplying most of the Nile's water, while also trapping the rich silt that downstream lands have depended on for generations. Leerdal Tunnel, Norway. Bored straight through the belly of a colossal mountain mass, the Leerdal Tunnel is the longest road tunnel on Earth, built so this vital transport route would not be cut apart by winter storms and blizzards. Hidden beneath the roadway is an extreme safety system, where about every 800 feet there are emergency phones and fire extinguishers, and if even one extinguisher is lifted from its holder, the control center can immediately trigger alarms and close the tunnel gates at both ends. About every 4 miles, the tunnel opens into 3 huge artificial mountain caverns filled with blue and amber light, wide enough for large vehicles to turn around, giving panicked drivers a place to stop while making the space look like a frozen cave buried deep underground. But the most chilling fact is that although it runs for more than 15 miles, with some sections buried under thousands of feet of mountain rock, it has no escape shaft rising to the surface. So if disaster strikes, the only choices are to keep going forward or turn back through the same endless tube. Magdeburg Water Bridge, Germany. Suspending an entire river weighing tens of thousands of tons high in the air at a cost of more than 500 million euros, the Magdeburg Water Bridge is the longest water bridge in the world. To create this water channel stretching nearly half a mile, engineers used about 24,000 tons of high-strength steel and about 68,000 cubic yards of concrete, turning it into one of the strangest transport structures ever built. The bridge itself works like a giant bathtub of concrete and steel, holding about 24,000 tons of water at a stable depth of around 14 feet. And to lift vessels into this flying river, engineers use massive lock systems that work like hydraulic elevators, raising ships weighing thousands of tons up into the air. What makes the structure a mechanical wonder is that even when a ship weighing thousands of tons enters the bridge, the load on it stays almost unchanged because the vessel pushes out exactly the same weight of water under the principle of Archimedes. To stop that 24,000-ton mass of water from freezing in winter, engineers installed a continuous aeration system along the channel to break the ice. Along both sides of the bridge are paths for pedestrians and cyclists, where you move beside a giant, suspended mass of water and ships cutting through it while looking down into the open space below, creating the eerie feeling of walking along the rim of a huge bathtub hanging in the sky. The Helix Bridge, Singapore. By directly copying the DNA structure of life and enlarging it in steel, the Helix Bridge became the only curved double-helix pedestrian bridge in the world, like a giant strand of genetic code suspended above the water. Four oval viewing decks project out from the bridge, letting visitors stand above the water and take in the whole surrounding scene from a position that feels almost suspended in mid-air. The whole structure was woven from about 650 tons of duplex stainless steel, strong enough to resist harsh sea salt, while the two spiraling tube systems wrap around each other and carry the bridge without relying on heavy tower supports. When night falls, LED strips along the steel frame light up in sequence, creating the illusion that the bridge is breathing, transforming it from a walkway into a glowing strand of genetic code in the dark. Khan Shatir Entertainment Center, Kazakhstan. Rising from a steppe where winter can freeze an entire city, this structure appears like a giant futuristic tent, trapping a warm world behind its transparent skin. What makes it even more intense is that its ETFE membrane does not only hold warmth, but also has to deal with large static electric buildup caused by constant wind friction, because dangerous electrical discharge could otherwise form across the surface. Inside that tent is an entire artificial world of shopping, entertainment, and a tropical beach on the top level where white sand was brought in from the Maldives to create the feeling of summer in the middle of frozen land. When night falls, light glows through the transparent membrane and makes the whole structure shine in the dark snow, like a giant crystal trying to preserve an eternal summer at the frozen edge of the world. The Gateway Arch, United States. More than a lifeless mass of steel, this superstructure acts like a giant mirror that swallows the soul of the sky and throws it back as shifting waves of eerie color. The Gateway Arch is not only the tallest monument in the United States at about 630 feet, but also the tallest steel arch in the world. What makes it especially remarkable is that its form is a perfect catenary curve, and both its height and the distance between its two legs are exactly about 630 feet, creating an almost perfect balance. Its surface is wrapped in about 900 tons of stainless steel, yet inside there is no steel frame like a skyscraper, because the steel skin and the concrete core are joined together to carry the entire load of the structure by themselves. Because of that steep curve shape, engineers had to create a one-of-a-kind tram system in which small round capsules keep rotating so the people inside remain upright as they travel toward the top. At a height of about 630 feet, the top is not spacious at all, but lined with tiny windows only about 7 by 27 inches, forcing visitors to lean against the sloping steel wall if they want to look down into the dizzying space below. Even more striking, the outer steel skin keeps changing color with the light and the weather, sometimes shining cold like silver in the midday sun, sometimes turning bronze gold at sunset, and sometimes fading into a soft gray shadow when river fog rises around it. Metropole Parasol, Spain. Looking like a giant wooden cloud floating above an old city, Metropole Parasol is the largest glue-laminated timber structure in the world, a work so strange that it cannot be mistaken for anything else. Inside it, several layers of space are stacked together, from the archaeological zone below ground to a market, a public plaza, and a panoramic deck above, making the whole place feel like a machine, connecting different layers of time in one location. The openings in the frame are not only for appearance, but also pull natural wind through the structure to soften the summer heat, while casting wide areas of shade across the plaza below. The project was born after plans for a parking garage unexpectedly uncovered archaeological remains. So instead of burying the past, designers raised a huge umbrella to protect it and create a new symbol for the city. When night falls, hidden LED strips inside the wooden grid begin shifting through changing colors, making the whole structure glow like a giant creature waking in the dark, half sculpture and half living machine breathing above the city. Ponte Lupu, China. Quando foi inaugurada, essa mega estrutura de aço de 300 milhões de dólares detinha o recorde mundial de ponte em arco de aço mais longa, cruzando o rio com um vão principal de cerca de 550 metros e sem nenhum pilar de apoio na água. O que mais chamou a atenção dos engenheiros foi que seu arco principal não foi unido com parafusos nem rebites, mas se tornou a primeira ponte do mundo a usar soldagem completa nas seções centrais do arco, transformando toda a estrutura em uma única massa contínua de aço. A pista de 6 faixas fica suspensa abaixo do arco por uma rede densa de cabos de aço, criando a sensação estranha de que todo o fluxo de trânsito atravessa um enorme balanço de aço. Sua característica mais famosa é que os visitantes não apenas cruzam a ponte, mas também podem subir mais de 300 degraus ao longo da lateral curva de aço para ficar a cerca de 100 metros acima da água e observar a cidade lá embaixo. Para manter esse corpo gigantesco de aço estável sobre o terreno fraco e lodoso à beira do rio, os engenheiros precisaram criar um sistema oculto de fundação enorme, ao mesmo tempo em que permitiam que a estrutura se expandisse e se contraísse com a temperatura sem se romper. Quando a noite cai, milhares de luzes correndo ao longo do arco transformam o aço frio em uma fita delicada e colorida de luz flutuando sobre o rio. The Atomium, Belgium. Unlike an ordinary building, the Atomium is a model of an iron crystal enlarged about 165 billion times, turning something normally seen only under a microscope into a giant steel structure about 335 feet high. The whole monument is made of 9 metal spheres, nearly 59 feet wide, linked together by 20 large steel tubes, and their highly polished stainless steel skin works like giant convex mirrors, pulling in the sky and bending clouds, light, and even the images of people standing below. It was created for a World Expo and was originally meant to exist for only 6 months, but its strange appearance made people keep it forever as a symbol of the country. Inside the connecting tubes are steep escalators and bright passageways, making the movement feel like traveling inside a spaceship. The highest sphere contains an elegant restaurant, where dinner can come with the strange thrill of feeling the giant metal structure sway slightly when strong wind hits it, while another sphere becomes a bizarre atomic hotel with suspended sleeping pods reserved only for groups of primary school children staying overnight. When night falls, thousands of lights running around the spheres make the whole monument look like an atom that is truly in motion, turning the heavy steel mass into a futuristic object floating in the dark. The Eden Project, United Kingdom. From the bottom of a clay pit, once mined almost to exhaustion, this place rose like a giant biological lifeboat, protecting an entire rainforest inside the cold, damp climate of Britain. The largest dome stands about 180 feet high and 328 feet wide, large enough to hold an entire London Tower inside, and it is also the place where more than 1 million plants from around the world were brought together to bring life back to land once left abandoned. Instead of using heavy glass, the domes are built from thousands of light, transparent ETFE cushions that let sunlight pass through easily, while still keeping enough warmth for plants to grow. Inside the rainforest area, temperatures stay around 64 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity near 90%, so stepping through the entrance feels like leaving Britain and walking straight into an Amazon-like forest filled with steam, birdsong, and waterfalls. To heat this giant living space through the cold season, deep geothermal wells reaching about 3 miles were drilled to draw warmth from the ground, while about 85,000 tons of fertile soil were also created from waste, coffee grounds, and mineral dust. When night falls, light shines through the huge hexagonal domes and makes the dark pit glow like an alien base, quietly protecting life at the bottom of a crater. The Great Mosque of Algiers, Jama El Jazir, Algeria. This is not only a giant mosque that cost about $2 billion to build, but also the site of the tallest minaret in the world, rising about 869 feet like a huge white spear beside the sea. The floor of the main hall is not left as cold stone, but covered by a vast woven carpet whose patterns had to be distributed with supercomputer precision, while also absorbing the footsteps of tens of thousands of people and keeping the huge interior strangely quiet. Hanging at the center of the dome is a chandelier weighing about 9.5 tons and set with 137,000 crystals, floating like a giant star burning above the crowd below. Because it was built in an area with serious earthquake risk, the whole structure is not locked rigidly to the ground, but placed on about 250 seismic isolators so it can slide gently when the earth shakes violently. Inside is a vast prayer hall, large enough to hold about 120,000 people at once, with 618 white marble columns carved like lilies rising upward to support the dome above. When night falls, the laser system at the top of the tower sends powerful beams into the darkness toward the sacred direction, turning the minaret into a giant lighthouse that can be seen from far out at sea. Statue of Unity, India. Like an artificial mountain piercing the clouds, this giant is twice as tall as the Statue of Liberty, challenging every limit of human architecture. The greatness is shown in the smallest details, as just the big toe of the statue is taller than a grown man standing next to it. Not only huge, it is a solid fortress designed to withstand wind speeds of 112 miles per hour and powerful earthquakes right under its feet. At a height of 502 feet in the chest, visitors can look through the statue's coat to see the sacred river flowing below. Jin Mao Tower, China. Stepping out of modern epics, this pagoda-shaped tower challenges all limits by bringing the soul of an ancient temple to a height of 1,381 feet. To keep the 88-story steel mass from tilting, 1,062 steel piles were driven 262 feet deep into the ground like solid roots. The most lethal experience here is the outdoor skywalk challenge without handrails, where the boundary between you and the air is just a safety harness. Amidst cold glass skyscrapers, this glowing golden pagoda still stands as a testament to culture soaring alongside technology. Lotus Temple, India. Like an oasis of peace amidst the bustling city, this architectural masterpiece welcomes humanity with the pure beauty of a white lotus in full bloom. Every night, mystical streaks of light creeping through each structural gap transform the temple into a magnificent crown of light in mid-air. The magic of mathematics is evident in the vast main hall, where the absolute absence of pillars brings a sense of spiritual liberation to thousands of people. Assembled from thousands of Greek marble panels, 27 independent petals have created an incredibly sophisticated and sustainable concrete origami structure. With the principle of natural ventilation from the pools, this place is not only a visual wonder, but also a cool refuge for souls seeking peace. Karakoram Highway, Pakistan, and China. Pitch-black granite cliffs, sharp as beast teeth, standing vertically against the blue sky, create a wild and threatening beauty for this land. Locals call this a cement mixed with blood project because it is estimated that for every mile of road completed, one worker lost their life. At the highest point, reaching 15,400 feet, the air is so thin that oxygen levels are only half, challenging human endurance limits to the extreme. Running parallel to it is a river with a magical milky green color, which is the remains of mountains ground into powder by thousand-year-old glaciers. Overcoming all obstacles, this highest international asphalt road in the world still stands proudly as the eighth wonder of humanity. The modern asphalt layer today lies right on top of ancient camel footprints, where merchants have transported silk for centuries.